There's a lot of irony in a lot of things out here to some contextuals, right? But what I'm gonna pronounce going forward is just that. Sometimes consistency, calm, fluidity, relationships are so pivotal, right? And the context as far as acting with thought, right? Tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today. So valiantly true. Beyond the scope of that or this, it's like a eureka moment, right? A eureka moment. You know how, like, I think I'm saying it right. Eureka, as far as like a good idea, right? A light bulb above your head, so on and so forth. And that just is that sometimes you never realize your own strength until it's your only choice, right? Have you heard that proverb from movies, Hollywood effect, etc. to some context? And literally, me, myself, probably need to get some sleep, but it's so true that me, myself, I'm about to build this institution. It's coming right now. It's all dirt cheap. This is the new millennium. Everything's cheaper than it's ever been. It's crazy. Is that for good or bad? I mean, I'm not so sure. Sometimes me, myself, I don't even like the internet, but it's here. I'm good at it, so on and so forth. So take advantage, man. Only more merry and more better going forward to some extent. So roll with the punches is not the end of the world. I mean, if it was, no one ever told me so. So I've never been stressing so much. Nothing wrong with a hard day's work. Principal points I like to emphasize as much as possible. And it's ironic because like sometimes you want to become who you looked up to, right? Or people that impacted you, affected you, you understand? Affected you in a positive way, right? So sometimes people imparting wisdom upon a child or anything of that nature is sometimes the most pivotal thing that could be forced upon an individual. Someone that made you make the discernment upon yourself, because it's called inflection point, right? I think that's the right terminology. It's a mathematical equation as far as when the tides change, right? But it can be translated just like all the other mathematical terms to just that, real life. Some of the best words actually come from mathematics, right? Like literally not like from mathematics, right? Because English was, language, communication, etc. But all my favorite words that I love to use come from algebraic, written mathematical equations, right? So that's like the irony of all this stuff out here. And I've been having too much fun, but obviously I'm building this institution. Gonna be so much stuff on there. I've already written hundreds of articles, etc., right? Hundreds of articles, and I've lost a lot, and I've already burned a lot too myself. Irony in that too to some contextuals. But it's not the end of the world, because video, as has been pronounced to myself, is larger than any other predominant thing out here to a lot of contextuals as far as what is all the youth about? Me, myself, I'm 27, but what is all the youth about? Phones and, picture phones on your, apps like, Snapchat or whatever, right? It's so true that the stimuli changes you. Just like anything else in life, sometimes stimuli changes your brain, right? Just like there's a muse. You've heard that in music or in composition or in artistry. Sometimes it inspires you to create something because it hits you with a stimulus. Some of the greatest endeavors, as was expressed to myself, were created under some sort of stimuli, whether it be stress or literally love or sex or literally alcohol or some other toxic drug, etc. Whatever. I'm not asking so much questions here to some contextuals, but stimuli is such a valiantly true thing, and that literally blew my mind when I first heard it, because it's so true, right? So, not the end of the world. But it's also true that this institution is going to be booming. My competitive advantage is that no one can be myself. As far as I just have the most creative ideas as far as implementing anything I do, right? And sometimes the whole purpose of this institution, to some extent, is just a hobby, right? Hobby. Also, to some contextuals, is helping anybody that wants to take the time to involve themselves with the institution on any level. As far as this or that, it's so true that. I give a lot of game myself, a lot of complimentary game. Obviously, check the blog. The blog's all going to be complimentary to some contextuals. But the visuals, which is the new way the youth is learning out here to some contextuals, and what's easier than someone telling you how to do it? Boom, now you know, right? I mean, and sometimes I give a lot of game, but I don't give all the answers. Because like I always say, you don't tell anybody everything you know, right? Everybody knows that. First and foremost, that's like the number one rule besides all the other number one rules. Have you ever heard that phrase by me all the freaking time, right? So it's so true. And literally what I'm going to suggest is that, only getting better, man. It feels amazing. But sometimes you want to keep your fluidity about yourself and also stay calm as far as running out here with a chicken with your head cut off. I mean, come on, bro. Like, I mean, you act with discernment, no matter what, fist fight, whatever. You think boxers go out here and use that adrenaline to be like running around with a chicken with his head cut off? Of course not. Use it to have impact and greater velocity and greater speed. That's what adrenaline's all about. You understand? So that's the real discernment between this and that, as far as being able to decide about everything to your advantage, right? Machiavelli once proposed himself, there's little difference between obstacle and opportunity. And entrepreneurship really is just discerning between you, or I just got interrupted, but is realizing that there's little difference between the two, obstacle and opportunity, and using both to your advantage. You understand? So obviously, on this academy of sorts, to a certain extent, it's open for debate. As far as advisory, etc., because I just have every trajectory for every business that could ever be arisen. That's just one of my gifts, right? Just creative like that. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes you don't even know, because sometimes you say this idea, can it be done? Just because you personally can't create something, a TV, doesn't mean a TV can't exist, right? Sometimes an idea has to be sprung. People couldn't do a 5-minute mile until someone thought, just believed they could, and then they did it, right? And now people are doing 3-minute miles, you understand? So it's just the power of the mind. And is it right? I mean, I really don't know, bro. I really don't know so much. Sometimes I'm just, getting it in while I still got it, you understand? And a girl once said that to me. It was irony, really, really irony. But I'm not stressing this or that, man. But for what it's worth, I'm using that as the pronouncement as far as sharing breadth of information, not everything. I'm not gonna give you the secrets to Coke's recipe, you know what I'm saying, just yet, right? But it's also true that sometimes inspiration, motivational speeches, so on and so forth, also the breadth as far as, inspiring ingenuity, inspiring ideas, inspiring factual information, that all the information is out there. What does the SEC do? It gives you, make sure that the information is equal out there. Is it equal? Because not everybody has the same tools. Some people get it at different speeds. The first person to hear about Bitcoin, think about how valuable that information was. Was the information always out there? Ask the SEC. I mean, they weren't even regulating that stuff, but you know what I'm saying? That sort of shit is out there, you know what I'm saying? And it's also true that getting access to it sooner, the more better off you'll be, right? The faster, the more upturn and more monetization and more utility it's going to provide, right? So what I'm going to suggest, though, is that sometimes I'm just here to inspire you to have your own practicing as I do myself, you understand? Factual information. Sometimes there's the information that's out there, but it's not consolidated for yourself, you understand? Not everybody discerns everything the same. And a lot of contextuals, as far as me, this gentleman, this girl over here, if there was one, etc. It's also true that we could all see a situation and it could impact us differently, you understand? Because not everybody discerns it the same, right? So for what it's worth, we could all see it the same too, though, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes birds of a feather flock together. I don't know, I heard that by my mother when I was young. Who knows, right? Sometimes that's true. Not everybody can go where you're going, and not everybody can be on this level or that level. But that doesn't mean you got to tear down everybody else's building just to make sure your building's so big. You understand? That's a principal point that was shared with me by a progressive, and I thought that was so real, bro. I was like, and I know that's a big dirty game out here to some extent, but it's so valiantly true that I think that's reasonable. You know what I'm saying? But I got to end this because I got to check in. But what I'm gonna suggest, though, be on the scope of this or that. And oddity, right? Oddity of a moment. Sometimes I get distracted easily. Some contextuals, though, pick up your hobbies. You got to find things that you like and things that you enjoy. Me, myself, personally, I enjoy exercise. Like I said, I'm trying to break the 5-minute mile. I'm a little bit on the older side now to some contextuals because okay, be on the lookout to some extent. Inspiring practitioner of all, whether that be motivation. Sometimes motivation is the number one pivotal factor out here to some contexts, aside from having the information. And sometimes you don't even got to be that smart. Sometimes you got to know where to find the information and how to make it applicable. You understand? Apply it as fast as possible, right? And sometimes people get the stories twisted to some contextuals, right? Hi. You smiled at me. Oh my gosh, it's changed my life. You don't even know the power of your smile, do you? Like, moving at God's speed out here. What a blessing. You understand? Oh, that was too much. You caught me. And that was recorded. That was recorded. You know that? What'd she say? I can't hear her. I couldn't hear what she said, but I literally said that. No, I wasn't recording you. No, I'm recording me, but I recorded me saying it, and you're waving at the camera. No, it's not recording you. It's recording me. But I said I caught it in the because that was like improv. That was just like I didn't know you were gonna smile. You know what I'm saying? And you didn't know I was recording a video, so on and so forth. So you caught me in the moment. But it's a beauty though. I meant what I said though too. All right. All right, man. You caught me in the moment on that one. Oh, that's for the picture books, man. That's swear to God.